What's going on, everybody? This is the Blockchain Backer, bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Today, we'll be taking a look over here at the Bitcoin price chart, which we are starting to see what are the appearances of the beginning of the C leg in an ABC correction. We've been talking about this in depth this week on how this would end up materializing, looking awfully similar to what we saw back here, which on Monday or Tuesday's video, I believe that's where that little circle came from, as we got right back up here, not quite taking out the height that was set over there on May 28th, similarly to the peak of the B wave from back there in 2024. Now, of course, when this occurred back in 2024, it didn't actually mean we were going straight for it and hey, it's going to be over in a couple of days. It actually played around here for a little while, moving up and then eventually, teasing around to eventually end up getting it. Hard to know what the literal timing or structure of this will be because they can vary in shape slightly before you end up getting them. So I'll just kind of a wait and see here today to see how long we're going to end up staying here before things get set in motion or if any surprises happen. Again, the really big picture on this thing, of course, is that while that looks like a lot of chop in there, it's really just what we've been talking about for weeks on end, if not months on end, that we would eventually work our way back up out of here and then that an ABC correction would show up in here. But we know that these things can take various shapes. It would be nice if they were just perfectly textbook and looked identical every single time, but that's just the nuance that we're having to deal with as we're in here. Of course, the big picture is to try to get over here to a bull flag where it eventually shifts its way back up and boom, then the big break ends up happening in here. And then that's where we really see a lot of the excitement in the market start to come in. I think it's likely going to be the time where we eventually see XRP and the altcoin market be able to go for its bigger break as well. And it's just that tedious waiting game until we can ultimately get our way there. So it's kind of that mix of just not losing the forest for the trees, understanding where we are. We're in a ranging context right now until proven otherwise. Things that I would start looking for right now just to kind of like support the idea that things will ramp their way back up, which I fully believe they will. I'm writing a newsletter right now. It'll be published on Sunday. It's likely we're just in these final chop areas right here for the whole market. But things that we saw for like XRP when we were in this type of environment back here is we actually saw the emergence of like meme coins, and we saw a lot of risk on behavior happen, even though we weren't seeing that translate over here into the pricing. This is like when all the meme coin stuff really started to ramp up over there on the XRP ledger. It was a lot of fun. Brad Garlinghouse made some statements here in the last, 48 hours that kind of sparked some excitement over there on meme coins. Once again, we've seen a lot of stuff start to move up. Don't bother commenting or promoting your meme coin in the comments of this video. It will not get approved, but that's a market dynamic we'll be looking for and to see if we start seeing more AMM trends start to emerge. But I could see an environment where people are kind of just getting bored of the price action and they're kind of over there playing in the casino. It's that people haven't really left. They're just kind of bored and they just play in the casino. And that's what we saw happen back in October and November of 2024 until the whole market ramped up together. So I know that's a side note and a speculative discussion, but it's something that we did see happen last time. And I've been speculating that one of the first things that we would see would be the start of that emergence of meme coin risk on behavior, right? And I don't think we've really seen it yet, but it's something to kind of pay attention to over the coming weeks. And I do know that like 90% of people want nothing to do with meme coins, but if you haven't noticed the trend in this market, that tends to show up every single time. So if you start seeing a lot of posting like that over there on Twitter, whether or not you want to participate or don't participate in it, just know that that was the early sign of things to come for the cryptocurrency market last time. It was like the overall crypto market was completely bored and absolutely nothing was going on with price action for the majors, but there started to become the stir over there over on the meme coins. And like, I'm not a proponent of anybody to participate in the stuff. 99% of people lose their money doing that thing. You have to pretty much be like full-time committed to it. And I know that because I've done it. I was successful, but I was committing a ridiculous amount of time to it. And those who just kind of show up and wanting to make a quick buck on it and not have a full understanding of exactly how that game is played, do not tend to just don't do well. But I'm saying this from like a confluence perspective that, seeing that type of environment arrive here during this would be very similar to what we have seen before. And at least on XRP, there do seem to be stirs of it happening right now. And of course, the news just keeps pouring in positively for XRP as Circle now announces that USDC is now live on the XRP ledger. So we now have USDC on XRP. So, overall big picture, it's all golden, but it's just like we're in this environment that is just totally this weight game. It's that team sideways that nobody likes to be on. Give me up, give me down, don't get me sideways. But it just kind of is what it is. And certainly a challenge to come on here every day and be like, that's just is kind of what I think is going to happen. And how do I say that differently every day? I think we're going to, head to the epicness of this market. And I think it'll start before the summer is over, but that the road is just bumpy to get there. But the signs are positive. And on things like Ethereum, like we've talked about, Ethereum's even kind of getting that move up in there that it may already be getting ready for its next shift to the upside. So that's positive. And I get there's a lot of XRP talk in here. There's a lot of people who just absolutely despise Ethereum, but I don't come at it from any type of, what team am I on? What sports team am I on? I got to cheer for my team and my team only. I look at it through a big lens. And of course, that frustrates people when they, we want to look at XRP, but we're also spending all this time talking about Bitcoin or the Russell 2000 or the dollar or metals. And it's like, just talk about XRP. And it's kind of like, well, that whole picture has to be tied together. And Ethereum's part of that picture too. And I own Ethereum, but not nearly as much as XRP, right? But as we wait for that Bitcoin dominance to spill over, it's likely that Ethereum is going to benefit from that. And we want that, no matter what asset you hold. Except Bitcoiners. I mean, all they want is just for them and them only, but still. So I won't make this video too long to, just ramble and hear my voice speak too much. I just think it's that time of year to just be fishing, taking the family on vacations, and enjoying life outside of staring at markets 24/7. My thoughts are that if we see like a VIX spike macro-wise, and there's some type of dip down in here, that's kind of like an opportunity, and that everything in the middle of that is really just a bunch of noise. And if there's some surprise that takes it out, then it's like, okay, well, wait a minute, maybe we do need to pay attention in here. But until proven otherwise, it just totally seems like this is an ABC correction happening in here. We're waddling sideways. Things to pay attention to are just, do we see a VIX spike? Is there some type of thing that scares and startles the market? If we get that, that could be like ooh, that might actually be the low. That might be the bottom and we've started. It, you've seen it. Anybody here right now has seen it. The fly-by-night crowd that comes and goes, they're not here right now. So everybody who's listening to this video is somebody who just is always here. That the bottom is marked by some type of fear event. The top is marked by some type of YOLO euphoria event. If some type of fear thing ends up happening, I do not think we're going to be crashing and crumbling to the ground. I think the euphoria of the market is still ahead. And that if we get some fear-driven event, VIX spike, liquidation, or something like that, that's actually where the beginning starts from. And until then, we just kind of wait for that moment to happen, or we wait for some type of surprise to end up happening. And I had people asking me in markets in the morning, what if the price sets a new high? Does that invalidate the idea that it'll be an ABC? And the thing is, no, because it could just be an expanded flat that is still an ABC correction, just has a new high in it. Means likely that we probably won't end up setting a new low. An expanded flat would, a running flat would not, right? So here's just a little infographic from Elliott Wave International. A running flat is still an ABC correction. It just doesn't set a new low. Notice that B does go higher than the initial starting point, and C does not go below A. However, in an expanded flat, B still goes above the starting point, but C goes below. So I get it. It's annoying. It's frustrating. If you're like, well, which one is it, right? Is it a standard ABC? Is it a running flat? Is it an expanded flat? We don't know. Right now, still just looks normal, like a typical ABC. But the question that was asked is, if it sets a new high, does that invalidate it? The answer is no. But the thing that would draw interest to it, if it did end up doing that and being like, well, is it a real breakout or is it not a real breakout, would be if we actually ended up seeing that Bitcoin dominance start to spill drastically at the same time. If you see the Bitcoin dominance drastically spilling, then that's telling us that we're seeing an actual expansion happen in the market. If we're still just hovering around here and waddling around in here, then it's not implying that this is an actual expansion happening in here by a new high getting put in. So if a surprise does show up, we'll be looking over here for something to give us a signal of that as well, and likely looking to the XRP price chart to be telling us the exact same story, that it's breaking out at this like 265 level, 266, and that we're also seeing the entire cryptocurrency market or the altcoin market doing the same thing, that it too is also escaping from what has been this resistance. And so for total 3, that's been at about $940 billion. So if we see Bitcoin setting a new high and then you see the altcoin market like cracking through $940 billion, then it would be like, wait a minute, this is probably real. This is not an expanded flat or a running flat. This is probably a real move. Till then, we just twiddle our thumbs and enjoy the summer. I do believe this is our future for the crypto market. Just staying with that consistent messaging of what were we looking for all throughout in here when we were in the depths of despair. And that was for price to shoot its way back up. And we were using all the models along the way to show that, which we ended up getting. Good news is, if we're already working on C-Wave, hey man, we're 2/3 of the way through this thing already. So one step closer. So I, of course, have my eyes peeled on the market. I'm keeping my eyes on it for any type of surprises or developments to happen. And I'm watching other dynamics happening on my data on the back end, or any type of, Memecoin stuff happening that's showing signs of resurgence of life, resurgence of risk taking to emerge. I totally think we're going to have an epic year this year. So the super big picture is awesome. We're just stuck in that middle picture right now, but it doesn't have me worried in the least bit. So anyway, if we see some major developments happen, of course, we'll talk about it right away. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys in the next one. I hope that you're having a wonderful week. I hope that you're having a wonderful summer so far. Most of the kids should be out of school by now, so families should be having some fun at this point. If you haven't done that yet, just do it. If you think you can only have fun once the money happens, you'll still make excuses. Enjoy life. It's part of the journey. But all right, I'll quit being philosophical at this point. Guys, I hope that you're doing well. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like, of course, check out the newsletter over here at blockchainbacker.substack.com. There'll be a new one posted Sunday morning. So if you sign up and read this one, you get access to all the past ones. And of course, you'll get access to the one that's posted there Sunday morning. They all come with audio recordings that I voice record after I write them out. You can, of course, check out bcbacker.com with over 40 videos and 11 hours of content teaching you how to set up your own charts and indicators within TradingView and CoinTrader Pro. There are links in the descriptions of all of my videos to the newsletter at blockchainbacker.substack.com and to bcbacker.com. Otherwise, have a great day, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. That's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like this video and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice, and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.